What was one moment that immediately made the quiet kid the most popular kid in school? Not kid but teacher. My physics teacher is an awkward, shy man who is constantly drinking coffee to stay alert and is quite jittery. Once in a school assembly we had a basketball competition to lift our spirits and he volunteered. He was the best of all. He made nearly every shot and after every shot he ran back to high-five a friend. Once he slipped on his way back but in a cool funny way. He was automatically a hero and everyone chanted his name. He was very happy but attempted to hide his smiles by sipping his coffee. That girl lost a lot of weight and was suddenly one of the prettiest girl in the batch. You'd think those only happen in movies. The best part is no stupid shenanigan ensued, and she remains to be one of the nicest and prettiest people I know. She's even more popular in college now. I always remember a story my dad told me when he was in high school. A quiet boy kept getting bullied by some asshole, much bigger than him. Day in, day out this dude was screwing with this kid. Kid was smaller in size, very quiet, never bothered anyone. One day he finally got sick of the bully and knocked him the fuck out in one hook, sending him to the hospital. Turns out he was a golden gloved boxer. At the end of every year in high school we had an academic convocation where the whole school would gather in the auditorium and there would be awards handed out to students from each grade such as most improved, best attendance, etc. Every time they had one of these they would open the convocation up with something entertaining like the cheerleaders doing their routine for example. My friend Jad who was the quite metalhead happened to be in the most insanely talented band our senior year. Somehow they got to open up our senior year's convocation. I was so jealous but also very proud to watch as the quiet kid was ripping a guy-busting guitar solo in front of the whole school with everyone, even the teachers, cheering the band on. Not the most popular in school, and not immediately, but there was this one kid in my 7th grade that was super quiet and didn't really have any friends. He was always eating alone and walking around the schoolyard alone during breaks. One day, our PE class was walking to a community center across the street. It was raining quite badly and everyone was holding an umbrella. The kid and I were in the front of the group along with the teacher waiting at the light to cross the street. As soon as the light changes, the teacher said, "All right, everyone, we are crossing." The kid said very calmly but loud enough for everyone to hear him, "No, not yet," while everyone including myself was still processing hearing the quiet kid's voice for maybe one of the very rare times. A van sped past us, running the red light and splashing rainwater everywhere. I didn't get wet despite being in the front line because quiet kid held out his umbrella as a shield and blocked the rain from hitting us both. Everyone was super impressed, especially me. During class that day, a group of popular kids went to talk to him and invited him to come play badminton with them. Then slowly throughout THD semester, people became friendlier with him and invited him to stuff. He was still quiet, but had lots of friends. He was very good at sport and drawing. When high school hits, he became super popular with girls and cycled through 5 girlfriends throughout high school. It was interesting to get to witness that moment when someone shined and you know that this is the moment that will change their school life forever. I actually see a lot of that, but this stuck with me the most because to me at that time, when he blocked the raining from splashing me in a super calm manner, he was super cool and was like some superhero. One day this popular kid punched the quiet kid in his face. He had glasses on and the glass shards from when his glasses broke as he was punched fucked up his eye pretty bad. To the point he had to go to the hospital. He came back to school the next week and everyone wanted to be his best friend. Like, people were arguing over who should sit with him at lunch and who he got to partner with in class. He also got to stay in during playtime and everyone wanted to be his buddy and stay in with him. It was so weird because until he got punched, everyone else would isolate and tease the fuck out of him. Because he was new and shy, our class even had to have an assembly about how we need to be kinder to him. But everyone kept teasing him. It was only when this kid punched him that I think we all decided it was too far. And we all felt sorry for him and we hated the popular kid that did it. To the point where people were now bullying him. Calling him Britney Spears because he has blonde and had a buzz cut was weird. He never got teased after that and became part of the group. I broke the bully's arm. Long version. When I was young I didn't really have any friends and was bullied horrifically. As always there was one kid who was the ringleader. One day he followed me on my walk home and attacked me, which had happened a few times, but for some reason this time he just pushed me too far and I snapped. Grabbed his arm, twisted it behind his back too forcefully and broke it. Got excluded for 2 weeks. Came back and everyone was my friend suddenly, even the other bullies. It was odd. Lasted until the end of the year when the power vacuum was filled by the next prick in waiting. Even stranger was that the guy who I injured was ostracized by the rest of the bullies and ended up getting bullied by them himself. I got left alone though, which I was fine with. It feels kind of arrogant talking about myself, but it was a weird change for me. During the winter break I had decided I wanted to do something with my look other than a bland ponytail and a hoodie every day, so I changed my hair, half split purple and blue braided extensions, and started wearing clothes to match. Looked up all the latest trends. Didn't exactly cater to them but more made them my own thing. Everyone started to recognize who I was because I was probably doing more than I needed to go to school. Most people kind of welcomed me into their friend groups if I ever wanted to talk with them because I was kind of a pussy and didn't want to ever be offensive to anyone. Thus people thought I was just super nice. I don't exactly know how to handle the attention since it had been a few years since I talked to people regularly, so I don't really talk much, but everyone seems to like me anyway. Plus I try to help out whenever I can. I always carry extra lead, pencils, pads, paper, etc. that I can give to people who need them. I also comprehend work pretty quickly, so I try to help anyone who doesn't understand something I can help them with. I'm guessing all of that added up to "hey, she's pretty cool" being a more common thought about me, so I'm just like now, I guess, recognized. It feels like I'm hyping myself up too much or thinking too highly of myself. It's not the traditional kind of popular, but I do think it falls under the definition. Probably, maybe. Not in a good way, but this kid was so quiet. He never talks and never says anything to anybody. One day his brother, 6th grade, the guy I'm talking about is in 7th, stabbed an 8th grader with a plastic fork at breakfast in the school cafeteria. The 8th grader knocked the crap out of the little brother, and then the guy I'm talking about started beating up on the 8th grader and got his butt kicked. Black eye, bloody and broken nose, the whole 9 yards. So like I said, now literally everybody in the school knows who he is, just not in the best way. I was that kid in junior year. The school news team filmed students giving their significant others Valentine's Day shoutouts, and me, being perennially single, decided to goof off to entertain my friends. I went on and said, and I quote, "I'd like to wish a happy Valentine's Day to myself, because I'm single, ladies." They got a kick out of it, and when it aired, the news team played it for the whole entire school, complete with remixes and everything. For one day, and one day only, I was the most popular kid in school. Even got a few phone numbers out of it. I was the quiet kid in my school. For years nobody knew I even existed. From year 7, 11, to year 11, 16. Then it happened. I was the person everyone talked about. Half loved me, half hated me, but everybody knew me. What did I do? Shag my mate's girlfriend. I was, for the remainder of my school year, referred to as Mr. Steal Yo Girl by my entire school. The worst part was I ended up dating her for almost a year. I'm not proud of it really. It's been over 6 years and I still feel guilty. But that friend forgave me for it after a while, cause he's cool if I learned my lesson, and never did anything that horrible again. School sucked. Glad I'm out. This sounds kinda weird and arrogant, but kind of myself. Definitely not the most popular kid, at least. I was super quiet and depressed in freshman year and was bullied relentlessly by a junior. One day a junior, let's call him Jack, and his friends follow me home from school and tries to fight me. I end up breaking his arm in 2 places and shattering his collarbone. His friends got it on video. After a 2-week suspension I got back and everyone was super nice to me. Always included me. I got invited to parties, seniors and such. The popular kid who beat me up came back later and was excluded by everyone. One day I'm on the locker room after school and find him sitting alone crying. We talk for a while and I learn his parents are getting a divorce and he lost his spot on the football team and he's about to fail several classes. On top of that, all of his friends left him, including his girlfriend. Essentially, he told me he had nothing to live for and was planning on killing himself. I sat with him for hours talking. Eventually he went home, and did I every day after that I'd sit with him at lunch. We hung out occasionally outside of school, and I helped him with a few classes. By his senior year, he's a regular with my original group of nerds and geeks. He also stopped drinking and smoking too, and we'd play Dungeons and Dragons as a group on the weekends. Haha. TL. Doctor, I beat the shit out of my bully, stopped him from killing himself, became friends and included him into my group of nerds and geeks. Once the quiet kid made a fake account on Instagram and started to make fun of her bully. After 2 weeks he saw the message that she sent. The quiet kid started trolling him, but then stopped doing that because he thought she was principal's son. They planned to meet, but in the end the bully got his full friends with him. LMAO. They were very disappointed seeing her because they thought she was principal's son. The next day everyone in my school was looking at her like she did a big crime. Unfortunately that quiet kid was me, and trust me, it was very cringe. So I was in year 6 and there was a kid who was my friend. Both of us really loved Russia, although we were not Russian and didn't speak it. He thought that it would be funny if we gather some people and march while chanting Russia really loudly, so we started chanting, and soon we had about 15 kids in formation chanting behind us. It turned out that we were right outside the principal's office and she scolded some of us severely. The other kid who organized it got away, so everyone thought that I arranged the whole thing, which was partially true. After that I gained some popularity, and with it I established a Russian regime in the school and abused enemies until they came to our side and I became supreme ruler. I also became class clown and the person known to not give a shit about the principal, and by the end of year 6 I had started to learn how to speak Russian, inspired by a new student who was Russian. Good times.